Dr. Stone, I think Chrome is my favorite character. Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Everything Anime Podcast. Here we talk about everything from anime, video games, manga, and whatever relevant topic we feel like talking about. Today's video is going to be on Dr. Stone Part 4. We're going to call this one the Bount Arc or Tournament Arc, whichever one you prefer. So, the last place we left off is, I believe, Senku was telling Chrome, like, hey, I'm going to give you all the knowledge that I have of modern society, and I'm going to give it to you all right now, because only one of us can go into this sulfuric pool of acid, because there is such a high chance that one of us will die. We don't even know the gas mask will create if they'll even work. And Chrome is like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not staying behind. If you want to pass on this science to me, then you have to live. You have to come back. I'm not going to. You're telling me basically I have to be okay with my friend dying? No, I don't accept that. Then we're taken to Kohaku's point of view, and she's talking to the chief and her sister Ruri, and the chief is like, hey, we need you to inherit the 100 tails from your sister just in case she dies. And Kohaku, just like a coin effect, is like, no, I don't accept that. I will not become the shamanist if that means my sister Ruri will die. I'll only become the shamanist if my sister lives. And so you have these two characters, both coin effect, Kohaku and Chrome, basically holding their stance like, we're not going to do this if it means the people we care about die, our friends die, our family die, the people we love die. We're not doing that. And I thought that was so awesome, because it shows like the mindset of our characters, the mindset of our group, the mindset of our nakama, our friends that we're following. And then Chrome goes on to say, like, I'm not your kid. I'm not going to be told what to do. Like, it's better if anybody's going to die, it should be me. You're the one that has all this knowledge. You already know all these things. You should stay behind. You're the one that should be the one staying behind. I should be taking the risk. But if you still want to go, then it's better if both of us go. Because, hey, if something goes wrong, we can be there for each other. It's better to have two scientists than none. And Senku, he can't argue with that, Chrome's determination and resolve. So they go together. After some hilarious gags of getting Genro's silver spear again from him. And as they're going on this, as they make it to the sulfuric acid pool, Chrome notices that Senku's like skipping. He's like going through the sulfuric acid all happy, all joyful. And Chrome is wondering, so like, how are you so brave? This is so dangerous. One wrong move and we could die. Well, the answer comes to him almost immediately. Senku's hand is shaking. He is terrified. But Senku says, like, look, I'm scared. But fear isn't going to get us the cure. Fear is not going to get us the sulfuric acid. If we want to save Rory, we got to get this acid. And if I let fear control me, it's going to hold me back. We're not going to get anywhere. So I'm putting on this front. I'll think of brave thoughts, but, I'm going to do this. And so him and Chrome continue walking through this pool of acid, and at some point the acid burns Dr. Stone's mask, because I forgot they made masks out of the ingredients and tools we already possess. And Chrome warns him. He's like, hey, Dr. Stone. But Dr. Stone was quick. He instantly already had it. But because Chrome got distracted for even not 1 second, he slips. He's about to fall into the pool of acid. Now, before we find out what's about to happen to Chrome, we got to rewind back a little bit. So while they are on the way to the pool of acid, Kaseki was making a third gear mask, a tear gas mask, and Genro is just talking to him. He's like, I don't know how they could do that. That's so scary. Like, they could die risking their lives. And Kaseki kind of gives him like a speech. He's like, fear is natural. Fear is what keeps us alive. Fear makes us human. Your fear is what keeps you alive. Like most things that you're afraid to do, it keeps you alive. But facing that fear makes you brave. It makes you stronger. And Genro's odd by that because he thinks of his friend Kenro, who you have to remember he's nearsighted. He can't see, but he's constantly fighting in close combat against people. And Genro's like, man, that guy must always be on a constant state of death and fear, but he still fights. He still goes out there. And Kaseki, he's like, yeah, he is pretty brave. And he puts his mask on. He's like, well, I don't know what to do with this. And clearly we know that, Genro's gonna take the mask. And thank God he does, because as I said, Chrome was about to fall into the acid, and Genro shows up with the spear and the mask, and there's some hilarious gags where the lady shows up and he's crying, he's scared. You're like, oh, what do we do now? But thanks to Genro showing up, thanks for Chrome and Senku having each other back, we achieved sulfuric acid. Now, I have some notes because a lot of stuff happened this whole arc, and I don't want to forget anything, so I'm going to check my notes from time to time. We talked about that. Right. The next thing we're making. So the next thing we are on to is making ammonia, and I'm not gonna pretend like I know everything Dr. Stone was saying or doing, because he makes several different acids back to back to back. And I've already praised this author, one, for he knows what he's talking about. Two, it's really teaching kids something. I don't think nothing bad, but just giving us a different kind of anime, a really intelligent anime, kind of like Death Note, but with science. And there's some hilarious gags where at one point he pees making some different kind of acid, and Kohaku's like, you're trying to kill my sister, aren't you? She's plotting to hurt them. And it's really funny. The author's really good with his gags, especially science gags and stuff like that. I wonder if he was a science major or something like that, or just loved chemistry. But yeah, with sulfuric acid, we start making all these different kinds of chemicals and other acids to get one step closer to the cure to save Ruri. And when we finally get down to the last ingredient, we're down to 3 things that we need, because we've made ammonia. That's ultimately what Dr. Stone was making with all these different acids. He was making ammonia. So now we're down to 3 things we need. And one of the things we need is booze. Well, how are we going to get that? Well, fortunately, there's a tournament bout going on where the winner becomes the chief of the village, as well as gets the chief of the village. He gets the hand of the shamaness Ruri, and he also gets a year's supply of booze. So our characters are in. They're like, hey, let's do this. Win-win. We're going to save Ruri's life. They're hoping that Chrome wins so that he can become Ruri's husband, because he's in love with her. And, ultimately, hey, it's a win for all of us. And then we learn that this is Senku's first time stepping in the village. He's been around, but he never stepped inside the village for 5 months. And the first time he steps onto the ring, Riri notices him for the first time, and she's like, I know you. And he's like, what do you mean? And she's like, and I'm thinking because she's never met him before and he's from 3,500 years ago, it could be her shamanist connection, maybe in a different life she's known Senku. And at one point she asked him what's your last name? And Senku thinks this is weird because no one in this time has a last name. They just go by first names. And as soon as she starts to say the last name, she's like, is Shu or something like that? Because I don't think we know Dr. Stone's last name. I don't think we know it. But as soon as she starts to say his last name, she collapses from exhaustion because, she's sick. And that's why they're trying to save her. Well, one of the tournament fighters, Magma, who tried to kill Senku before, he's the one that stabbed Gen Asagiri, the mentalist slash magician. He tried to kill Dr. Stone. He's excited that she's gonna die because he's like, I just want to become chief. I'll be your husband as long as you're alive. I'll make you happy you're alive, but I just want to become chief. That's all I care about. And our characters obviously aren't with that. One, we want to save Ruri, and then 2, you don't deserve to become the chief of this village. So they hope, but Magma's also this really big dude. So they're hoping that their 3 fighters, Genro, Kenro, and Kohaku, can somehow rig the fights into their favor, or at least make it to the finals, wearing down Magma over the course of matches, and ultimately getting that win with either Kohaku or Genro or Kenro to ultimately win. And things don't obviously work out in their favor in the first match. The first match is Magma versus Kenro, which is one of our strongest fighters. So they're hoping hey, maybe Kenro will wear him down from the start. And let me check my notes real fast. Oh, but because things don't work in their favor automatically, Senku's like, hey, we should try doping. And not like steroid kind of doping. He has like these natural ingredients that like he that's what I mean, like Dr. Stone's like really smart with like how it does things, but like he has like these natural ingredients for doping and to like give you energy, adrenaline, stuff like that. And so but Rinko, because he's so Kenro, he's so honorable. He's like, I'm not doing any doping. I'm gonna win this fair and square. I'm not doing any tricks, nothing like that. Even though the rest of the group is like being mischievous, but it turns out that Genro ended up eating all the doping ingredients from the start, and so there are no doping ingredients. And so this is where they send Seku, the watermelon girl. They're like, hey, look, no big deal. Genro ate the doping ingredients, but we can get more. Seku, I need you to go out there, because she's not fighting. I need you to go out there and gather more ingredients. And she does. She does her little watermelon head roll thing, or she pulls her whole body into her watermelon head and rolls off. And this is a problem because one of Magma's allies, Mantle, this like really short little dude, he overhears this and he is going to go set up a trap. And so as the fight starts between Kenro and Magma, we find out Mantle comes back. He's running. He's trying to tell the group, like, hey, guys, Seku's drowning. And Dr. Stone and Kohaku immediately call him out. They're like, no, you're clearly lying. But he's like, no, it's honest. And he can't convince him. But Kohaku, because she cares about her friend, she's like, well, even if he's lying, there might be a chance that she is in trouble. It has been a minute. And so she's like, hey, look, I'll be back for my third match. I'll be back for the third match because it's set up as Magma and Kenro, then Chrome and Mantle, and then Senku and Kohaku, and then Genro and Argo in the preliminary matches. And so if Kohaku isn't back in time for her match, she'll forfeit and Dr. Stone will win, which is a problem because Dr. Stone is skinny. Dr. Stone is not physically fit to win a fight. So they're relying on, like I said, Kohaku, Genro, and Kenro to win these fights. And with Kenro fighting first, if Kohaku doesn't make it back to the match, it's going to be a problem. But they believe in her. They're like, hey, go. You believe Seku's in trouble? Go ahead. And so as the match starts, in less than a second, in less than a panel, Seku was tied to a tree. Like, she was tied up by Mantle, so he did do something to her. But she gets out by, like, lifting herself up to her watermelon head and coming back to the match almost immediately. But Kohaku is not aware of this because Kohaku has run off. So it's almost like, one of those things where, like, your characters are after the same goal. Like, Kohaku's trying to, well, not really. It's like more like your characters just kind of miss each other. So let's say Kohaku went left to go save Seku, and Seku saving herself went right. So they're going to miss each other. They're not going to intersect, which is going to come up later. Obviously, you know where that's going. But in the fight with Kenro and Magma, Kenro's doing pretty good at first until Magma, and it surprises Magma, until Magma gets up close. Once Magma gets up close, that nearsightedness that Kenro has starts kicking in. Because you remember from a previous chapter when Seku got those glasses on her eyes, we found out that Kenro has nearsightedness too. He cannot see up close. He can only see far away. So the moment his opponent got up close, Kenro started taking hits. He started taking licks back to back to back. And because Seku escaped, she makes it back in time to notice that, like, Kenro has the same nearsightedness. And she's like, hey, Dr. Stone, Kenro has the same problem that I have, and I recognize it because I'm used to, I know what that face looks like. So she tosses her helmet into the ring. It lands on Kenro's head, and immediately he can see clearly. And he makes this, like, pose, like, all powerful, kind of like Sogi King, when Sogi King first showed up, Sniper King Usopp. And all the characters are like, wow, he looks really creepy with that on. But he also starts dodging Magma's attacks, like almost like he has Ultra Instinct. And Magma's blown away by this. He's like, whoa. And then Kenro's like hits, they start not only making damage, but like hitting like lethal points. And so Magma, I knew this was a fake out. I knew he was faking. Magma at one point is like, I'm tired, but hey, don't you think that helmet's cheating? And Kenro, because like I said, he's honorable. He didn't want to cheat. He didn't want to use any doping. He wanted to win by the rules. And he was looking down on Senku and his friends talking about like rigging the fights. he's like, I don't know. If the judge says that this helmet is illegal, I'll take it. I'll disqualify myself, and I'll let you win the match, Magma. And Magma's like, okay, I agree with that. And Magma was relying on Kenro's like honorableness to like be his like to a fault. What's that word? What's the phrase we say? Honorable to a fault. He was relying on an honorable to a fault to get him that win. So Kenro goes to the judge and he asks him. The judge is like, yeah, it's fine. It's no more. It's not like a handicap. It's more like an accessory to, in my opinion. It's nothing more than glasses. And Kenro is surprised by that. But in that same moment, Magma takes him out from behind. And even though it's a cheat, even though it's a sucker punch, the judge declares it a win because he never did call the match off. He never paused the match. He just happened to ask a question during the fight, and Magma took advantage. So Magma's our first winner. Now the second fight is where our characters start getting nervous because they're like, hey, one of our strongest fighters was taken out, and Kohaku's not back yet because she doesn't know that Seku's okay. Chrome, you've got to stall until Kohaku gets back. And Chrome's like, oh, got this. I'm down to stall. Let me check my notes, make sure I didn't miss anything about Chrome and Mantle's fight. Nope, not at all. Didn't miss anything. All right, yeah, so during the fight, it's like there's some funny gags where like basically like doing like slappy hands at each other. And Chrome is trying to stall until Kohaku gets back. He's not trying to win. He's not trying to lose. I mean, Chrome's not physically fit, but there's no way he would have lost to this. He wouldn't have lost to Mantle. There's no way. But he was trying to stall till Kohaku gets back. And Magma catches on to this because I think he either senses Kohaku was coming back or he just like realizes like, hey, like she's gonna know by now that Seku's alive or fine. So he tells Mantle, he's like, hey, forfeit now. And Mantle like immediately falls back on his butt. He's like, I surrender. And the judge declares that Chrome is the winner. And this is bad because the matches are automatic. They automatically go to the next fight. And so the third match is announced, and it's Seku versus Kohaku. Because Kohaku isn't present, Seku is declared the winner automatically by default. And so now two of our strongest fighters have been taken out, Kenro and Kohaku. We've only got Genro left. Well, we got Genro, Senku, and Chrome left, but they were relying on those three to win the fights. And Kohaku does show up a minute later, or I'm assuming it's either like right after the decision's made or like a minute later. You can't really tell by manga, but I'm assuming like because it's anime, she probably showed up like the second after Senku's declared the winner. And she's not even concerned that she's lost. She's not even concerned that, like, they are losing a chance to win the booze to defeat Magma, which is their only opponent they're worried about. She's just happy that Seku's okay. She hugs her. She's like, oh, I'm so glad you're okay. And I really loved it. It's so cool and great that, like, they're focused on their friendship. They're focused on, like I said, from the beginning. And it has not changed. It's sticking with that same thing where Chrome told Senku, like, if you are gonna risk your life in that sulfuric acid, then no, I'm not gonna inherit this. I'm not gonna inherit inherit science from you. And Kohaku telling her sister, like, no, I will not become the shamanist if it means you die. It's sticking with those themes. Like, they care about each other. It's friends first, friendship, love, family, whatever first before anything else. And so I really thought that was cute. I think the fourth match is Genro versus Argo. Now, do you remember Genro was the one I said that ate the doping ingredients, and Senku didn't bring back any more because she got captured by Mantle and then escaped and just came right back. But Genro, he never swallowed them. He just had them in her mouth. And the characters make a joke like, are you like a squirrel or something? Like, you've been storing those ingredients in your mouth this whole time. And Genro finally swallows them. And even though there's no physical change in his body, mentally he thinks he's changed. So in his head he imagines himself like a strong warrior, but like all the other characters like, you haven't changed at all, but we're not going to tell you that because your ego clearly is like thinking that you're super strong. And so he goes to the fight, and Argo is this muscular dude. Like, he's very intimidating compared to Genro. But Genro, like, immediately strikes him, like, catching the guy off guard. Like, he has no idea where Genro's getting his confidence from. He doesn't know that Genro's, like, doped up in his head. And he takes a blow immediately. Let me check my notes here. Yeah. said that. Oh, also there are hilarious gags throughout this fight where he thinks his friends are cheering for him like as he's fighting, but they're actually like worried and scared because they're like, oh my god, he's doing terrible out there, because like every time he thinks he's been dodging like Argo's attacks, he's been getting beaten and hit by every single attack. And but he does win. And because like in his mind he still doesn't know like he's getting his butt beat. He in his mind he thinks he's got Ultra Instinct like Kenro. Like he thinks he's at that same level. So he knocks his opponent off the ring into the water. But immediately he has to go to the bathroom. And after he wins, and after he's declared the fourth victor, and in the those are still preliminaries. He runs to the bathroom. So now we're in the semifinals. The semifinals are Chrome and Magma. And Chrome versus Magma, and Senku versus Genro. Now, at this point, I was thinking Chrome's not going to win this fight. Chrome is going to lose, and Magma's going to win. And then Senku obviously is going to face Magma. That's how I thought of it. That's the way, you expect the anime to go, because that's what you expect. But this author is good at subverting our expectations, and this fight between Chrome and Magma is going to prove that. So, let me check my notes real fast. Okay. So, I think I remember the main points. So, at some point, when the fight starts, Magma immediately takes out Chrome. Like in the first panel, Chrome is on the ground. Magma's staff is steaming, like he got hit by a powerful blow. Chrome is down, and I was like, "Oh man, my boy, he's not gonna win this." I thought it was gonna be a one-shot win, but because he clearly cares about Ruri to an extent, like I don't know what extent he cares about her, but he cares about her to an extent. He doesn't want her to end up with somebody like Magma that's just gonna abuse her or just wants her for the power, and that's it. He doesn't care about her life or anything like that. And he goes to die for Seku's helmet, which he notices on the battlefield. And I thought, like, again, because this has been resolved around friendship and family and protecting our friends, that he was protecting Seku's helmet from getting destroyed by Magma's, like, little rampage, because Magma was beating him the whole time he was on the ground. And he continues beating him while he's protecting his helmet. And the whole time, I'm thinking, like Seku, Chrome, like, are you just gonna forfeit? Like, what's gonna happen? Well, he had a plan this whole time. So I forget how he stands up, but at some point he stands back up and he has the helmet aimed at Magma's cloth. And what his plan is to set Magma on fire, because at some point when in a previous arc, I believe I called it the Alliance arc, when Dr. Stone gave Seku those glasses, he had taught him like, when the sunlight reflects off these glass, it can like set things on fire if it's focused on it long enough. And so Dr. Stone immediately realizes that's what he's trying to do, because Magma's just like, are you desperate right now? Like, what are you doing? Because he's holding the helmet up on a staff or something like that, like the staff he wields, and he's aiming it at the cloth, and nothing's happening. And Dr. Stone, because he knows what he's doing, he's like, "Hey, that's not going to work. Like, it's going to take time. It needs something additional. Like I said, I'm not that smart with science, but he says that it needs something to. It won't just heat because you have a magnifying glass. It needs something on it." And Chrome's like, "I already know that." And it just shows how intelligent Chrome is. Chrome is the scientist of this modern time. He's not dumb. And the whole time he was protecting helmet, he was crying and adding his sweat and tears onto it to like kind of like make the glass a conductor of heat. And so Senku was like blown away. He's like, "Oh wow, Chrome, you are way smarter than I took you for." But then Gen Asagiri, the mentalist, shows up. And he's like in the background at first. He's like, "Well, that's not going to work. He's going to need time. It's going to take time to heat up." And Dr. Stone quickly does the math in his head. He's like figuring out, and he comes to the realization it's going to take 60 seconds for that cloth, for the magnifying glass to ignite that cloth. And there's no way I'm thinking Magma's going to stay still for 60 seconds. There's no way. Well, these boys had a plan. Well, a triple plan. Gen Asagiri, the mentalist / magician, or the self-proclaimed mentalist, slash magician. He does this like magic trick, and he's like, "Hey, Chrome, I just cast a spell over you, and if you make any move before 1 minute, your heart's gonna explode." And I thought this was clever. I thought this was funny, but I was like, "There's no way he's probably gonna doubt this." But Magma does believe that like Chrome. I mean, he believes that Chrome, Senku, and Gen Asagiri are sorcerers, because like science to them is magic, or science to him is magic or sorcery. So he believes it, but it's solidified by Dr. Stone taunting him. He's like, "Oh yeah, Chrome, go ahead, you big muscle guy. Why don't you see if it's real or not?" And that freaks Magma out, like where he doesn't want to move for 60 seconds. Now the other problem is that Chrome has been damaged and weakened this whole time. So the whole time he's trying to like hold the staff, it's actually wobbling. And the only way that is going to ignite that through that magnifying glass is if Chrome stays completely still. Man, Chrome pulled a Usopp, bro. He pulled a God Usopp. He pulled a Soge King Usopp. He pulled something. Chrome steals himself to allow the sunlight to heat that glass, and it ignites Magma's body on fire. And Magma out of control. He can't focus. Chrome uses that, take him out, knock him in the water. Chrome's declared the victor of the semifinals, or the first semifinal match. Bro, that subverted my expectations like crazy. I did not expect Chrome to come out of that as a winner, but I'm so happy he did. Like it was amazing. It was great. I'm so glad Chrome won that. So then I was thinking, okay, now it doesn't matter who wins. It doesn't matter if Chrome. Well, I mean, obviously they want Chrome to win because they want Chrome to end up with Ruri. But I was like, in the second match, it doesn't matter if Senku or Genro win, because their whole thing is that they just want the booze and for Chrome to end up with Ruri. Well, let me check my notes to make sure I don't miss anything else. No, I just declared out a great chapter after reading all that. Yeah, it was a great chapter. I love that. So, in the match with Senku and Genro, something hilarious happens. Genro starts getting in his head about becoming the chief. He's like, "Well, wait, if I win, I not only get the girl, but I'm the chief of the village." And he's like, "Every day, if I'm the chief, we're going to have ramen for dinner. And then we're also going to have a harem of women for every man on the village." And Kohaku's like, "There's not enough women on the island for that." And also the whole village is like in unison thinking like, there is no way this guy can become the chief of the chief of the village. Wood can never let that happen. But they still let him fight because he is in the bout. But they're hoping he loses. Well, Senku, like we all know, is weak. He's not physically fit to take on anybody, at least like not fighter wise. And Genro is one of the 3 capable fighters they're relying on. So Genro is immediately like doped up in his head, thinking about just becoming the chief of the village. He starts attacking Senku like crazy, and Senku is like basically just dodging until Chrome on the sidelines is like, "Hey, Senku, take Sukiya's helmet. It helped me last time. It'll help you." And Genro, and I'm thinking like, Genro isn't going to fall for the same trick twice. Like, obviously, Dr. Stone's not going to repeat the same thing with the magnifying glass, or the heat with the heat. Setting Genro on fire, but Genro thinks he's going to do that. He's like, "Oh, I'm not going to let you do that." And he tries to destroy the helmet or go for the helmet while Senku pretends to go for the helmet, and Senku uses that trick to hit him with his own staff and knock Genro out. And I thought that was great. Another great subversion of expectations, like Genro getting full of himself in his head. And then we get to the finals match, which is supposed to be Senku versus Chrome. Now, I thought for sure, like, if anything, this is where Senku is going to forfeit, and then Chrome's going to automatically get the win. Well, as soon as the match gets announced, Chrome faints from exhaustion. The damage he took from fighting Magma was too great for him. And even though he was dope, and I still give him that like Usopp clap, man. That was a great chapter. Chrome is an awesome character. In Dr. Stone, Chrome is my favorite character. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But yes, in this fight, Chrome passes out before he can fight. Before Senku can forfeit and before he can fight, Chrome passes out. And so the judge is forced to declare Senku the winner. And immediately the reactions from the villagers are like, what? Oh, God, not that guy. And even Senku's the same way. He's like, oh, God, not me. And that's the last thing I left off. I think that's the last part of my notes, too. Yeah, that's the last thing in my notes. Senku's declared the winner. But that was a subversion of expectations because I expected him to just forfeit to Chrome and, you know, let him live happily with Ryuri. But now they have to booze. I don't know what happens next. That's the last thing I read. But I have to say, man, Dr. Stone, if you're not reading Dr. Stone yet or watching it on anime, I recommend it. This is my first time checking it out. All these are my thoughts. I am giving you like play-by-play on a chapter because this is brand new for me. It's probably brand new for you. But again, these videos aren't scripted. I have my notes and then I just go based off memory from those notes. And I talk about my thoughts on them. But yeah, this one was probably the longest one I had that much to say about. I love tournament arcs, especially like when a tournament isn't just about fighting, but has like clever things mixed in. Like for one, you got rid of you gave Kenro a cool moment, giving him the helmet to let him see and showing off like him dodging and being more powerful in a fight, as well as like taking him out in a clever way, which, you know, it was a sucker punch, but it worked. I like that Chrome made it to the finals. That was one of my biggest subversions. Taking out Kohaku by, like, you know, having her go off to save Seku, her friend, but then getting back just after the third match where she is disqualified for not being there. And then Genro giving him a win through hilarious gags, thinking that like he had transformed from eating all these dopamines, but it really just like gave him adrenaline and stuff like that. And he was getting beat up the whole time and he didn't even know. I love that because just after having written Enter the Dread Zone Tournament, which is my third and fourth book in the Shinry series, I know about writing tournaments. Well, there's a tournament in Shobu Samurai where there's like some mixtures of like characters forfeiting and stuff like that, as well as other things going on in the background. And then, yeah, Enter the Dread Zone Tournament is like just a whole tournament book. So I loved how clever this tournament was because I like to write tournaments. If I'm doing a battle manga or anime, which is kind of what the Shinry series is, you have to keep it interesting. Like back-to-back fights are great, but it's even better when you can subvert the expectations of the reader or just make it exciting. And this Dr. Stone, not even being a battle manga, but having these fights be that interesting and clever and funny was really great. And I can't wait to continue with video 5. Next video is probably going to be Prototype. I keep saying that, but I promise I am playing the game. I just work about 12 hours a day, and then I read my manga, I edit my books, I do all that stuff on the side, so it takes quite a minute. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. Continue to check me out, watch the videos, give them a like, subscribe. Let me know if you have any anime or manga you want me to check out. Until then, guys, bye for now.
This video was sponsored by the Shinry series. Check out our link in the link tree below to check out all our current published books. Starting with Shobu Samurai Project Aryoku. 10 years after the death of his parents, Shobu Samurai sets off on a quest for revenge, but instead faces a choice to save his home from powerful enemies, blood beasts, shadow creatures, and the organization once thought dead. Or check out our other series, The Chronicles of Wayne, Love Be Damned. Cotton candy, pheromones. Favorite lovers, a curse virgin spite. If you go where monsters dance, red will reign over your house. Love be damned. The Chronicles of Wayne starts with Book 1, and it introduces werewolves, vampires, and all other sorts of supernatural creatures you've already heard of. If you guys are interested in the books, just follow the link tree in the description below. And as always, thank you for watching and supporting the Shinry series at Everything Anime.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe.